All right, welcome you guys. Tomorrow happens to be the full moon in Cancer. Cancer is a water sign. The emotions in water are already ruled by the moon. So I don't know, I feel great. I've been having disturbances in my sleep. I haven't been able to sleep well, but you may be a little bit more emotional, or you may live with someone that's a little bit more emotional. So just be a little patient and a little compassionate if that's the case. It's also the wolf moon. I mentioned that yesterday. I do not plan on doing any cobras or up dogs today. However, I don't have a bolster here, but I would like you to have a bolster for the end, for like Shavasana. And our theme for today is really exciting to me. And it's not anything that you haven't heard me say before. It's nothing that the yogis haven't said in the past. But my friend encouraged me to get on Gaia TV. And Gaia TV is something that you can get a subscription for, that you can even go online on your computer and see some of the videos there. We have it on our Fire Stick. But anyway, there's a show on there that's pretty new called Missing Links. And the host of it is Greg Braden, if I'm saying his name right. And this particular gentleman is actually someone my friend has actually met before, excuse me, through the Unity Church many, many years ago. And he was connected with them and used to tour around to the Unity churches and give a lot of these talks. Well, he's a geologist, he is an archaeologist, and he's been studying history and science for over 30 years. Okay, so he is full of knowledge. But while I was watching this show, Missing Links, the very beginning show is a little hard to follow because it's got a lot of charts in it, but it's really good and positive information concerning the times that we're living through now. They have taken a lot of slabs of ice from Antarctica, and they've been studying this. And this has been done since like the 80s. They actually have discovered this since the 80s, but it's not as well known to the public masses yet. In fact, a lot of the new research in science is changing history as we know it. And the history books and the science books in schools need to change. And a lot of the historians and scientists that have been around for a long time are resistant to some of this information and changing because they're so ingrained in the old information. But there are so many studies and they're being published in the scientific magazines. And anyway, you can just watch the show to get all that message. The message I want to share is they have discovered what the yogis have always said. Everything is based in energy. Everything is interconnected and interwoven together like a tapestry. So I bet it's the 4th or 5th episode. This is where they start talking about it. It's 4th and 5th, actually. In the 4th episode, it says, if we look with our optical eyes up into the sky, we see the sky kind of peppered or sprinkled with starlight. A star here, a planet there, a star there, and they're light years apart, millions of miles apart. Well, the new instrumentation that they're using to study energy is now showing energy lines weaving, crossing each other, and connecting all the stars, connecting all the planets, connecting here to Earth. And they've already been able to measure energy within people. I've shared this in other previous classes. They can actually measure the field of the energy around the body. And depending on what vibration, attitude, or mood you're in, it will either be longer, or shorter. But with this newfound information, they're discovering that, yes, everyone is interconnected and that these energy fields are actually larger than they ever thought was possible. and it expands more than they thought was possible. And this is exciting because this is bridging science and spirituality. And at the start of the new year, I was talking about this being the year 7. This is the year of philosophy. This is the year of soul searching. This is the year where science is merging with spirituality. And it's fascinating on this show because, you know, if you look at the way certain Christian fundamentals look at humanity, they only see humanity going back like 6,000 years, 8,000 years max, right? And of course, archaeologists were also using that measurement, but they have discovered and discovered and discovered in innumerable places around the earth things that predate that go back 12, 13,000 years. In fact, some of this ice that they've been studying goes back millions of years. And what they're seeing is the weather changes and humanity changes and economy changes. All of it is working in unison. And what we're going through is just a typical pattern on the graph that they've seen in years past. And they have noticed and learned that there were ancient civilizations that had high technology that were actually very, very advanced before the Ice Age. So I don't know, it gives me shivers. It's like really exciting. So today we're going to focus on opening the hips, as that relates to the element of water. And the last thing I want to mention, because we're talking about the collective and how everything's interconnected, years ago, remember when the tsunami happened in was in Thailand, and it was horrendous. You know, it was all over the news, just like September 11th was all over the news. The whole world knew about it. The whole world was grieving this as well. And there was a famous teacher that was bouncing around, not just the US, but around the world. She was an international teacher. And within the year of the tsunami, she had come through Nashville and was saying that no matter where she went, she could see the impact that the tsunami overseas, how it was affecting everyone else's body, and more specifically the hips, because that correlates to the element of water. Now, I just came to the practice of yoga after September 11th, but I have heard teachers say after September 11th, you could see certain things showing up in people that weren't prevalent before, you know, or weren't as widespread before. And I personally noticed this as a teacher with the pandemic in 2020. My body was shot, other people's bodies were shot. It was low back issues, leg issues, you know, heart issues. So this is, you know, in another way, proving that everything has an influence. So I love it when we come and meet on the mat. I love it when we can breathe together, move together, meditate together, because we're cleaning our house, cleaning our mind and body, and we are shifting our energy and being more positive and putting more peace, love, and light, not just in ourselves, but we're actually aiding and adding to the collective matrix. So let's get started. Okay, we're going to begin. Sorry, I had my heat on. Let me turn it off. Let's start in pentacle pose, which is the star pose in yin. So your legs and feet are pretty wide, about as wide as your sleeping mat, and your arms are overhead and they're wide as well. And just take up some room, take up space and spread out. If this gives your hips or shoulders any trouble or grief, remember you can change or alter your shape. Close your eyes. ground down. And imagine you're stargazing as you look into your mind's eye. And throw into your imagination a starlit sky. How the stars and the planets appear to be separate and apart from one another. But then bring in that imagery of threading and connecting all of them together. You can picture this as cords, as a thread, as veins. Something that's tethering it all together. Creating a beautiful tapestry overhead. And then remember the truth of the statement, as above, so below. And as you continue to breathe with depth and control in a diaphragmatic way, imagine just as your limbs are spread out, there's energetic cords and threads and lines that are connecting us to each other and beyond. This new science is giving the evidence of why prayer is powerful. How energy work is accessible from one continent to another. Continue to create rhythmic breath. Feeling up the lungs as you inhale. Empty them on the exhale. Now let's go ahead and start to draw the knees. Keep them wide open, but pull them in towards your side body. Take your hands to hold and cup your knees or shins. Keeping your thighs wide apart. And remaining anchored on your low back. Softening your ankles and feet. And keeping the eyelids closed. Continuing to tune into your breath. Especially since the breath alone can even connect us not only to one another in the matrix, but to the divine intelligence behind it all. Remember, if this becomes too much, you can lessen your grip or you can take a momentary break and draw the knees together, eventually separating again. On your next inhale, let's draw the knees together, but then land the feet to the mat. We're going to cross the left ankle over the right knee. And remember, if this is plenty, you can stay here. If you want to stand the right foot on a block, that's another option. Or of course, you can go into eye of the needle by threading the hand through and linking the hands together behind your right thigh. Now, sometimes we're active and we flex the feet, but let's be truly yin. So relax the feet and let the right foot flop. Remember, you are in control of how much or little you pull in. Even though your hands are hooked, try to keep your shoulders pretty relaxed. There are several meridians that begin or end at the feet. So with your eyes remaining closed and working into the hips, you may notice at some point through today's practice a little tingly sensation at the feet, like pins and needles. All right, from here, let's go ahead and lift the right foot skyward. Now, if hugging in wasn't appropriate for you, you can keep your left foot on the floor and work this way with the leg. Otherwise, you can keep the ankle crossed. All right, we're going to point the toes up on the inhale, and we're going to flex the ankle on the exhale. Now, don't go too fast with this. Breathing in slowly, pointing up, exhaling slowly, and pressing the heel up. Then do it a few more rounds, because notice when you go slowly, you actually feel more. You may feel it running not just through the foot, but into the shin and calves. And then slowly start to rotate the ankle, circling the foot. Keep going one way. And now reverse. And then exhale, release the foot and uncross the left. Now hook your right ankle over your left knee. Testing the waters here. Should you be here, standing the left foot on a block, or lacing your hands behind your left leg? If you go into the habit of working the ankles, relax the feet and let the left foot flop down. Close your eyes. And breathe. One of the themes for 2023 is to be able to breathe again. So take advantage now. You can stay in the same spot, or you can eventually go deeper or do less. Now inhale, extend the left leg, point the toes, and exhale, flex the ankle. Pointing up on the in-breath, pressing up through the heel on the out-breath. Remembering to go slow and steady. And then start to rotate the ankle, circling the foot. One way at first. Notice where you feel restriction in the foot. And then reverse it. And then exhale, release. All right, stand both feet on the floor, okay? So if you had a block, scoot it out of the way. And you're gonna roll open your left thigh so that knee goes down into half butterfly. Be here for a few rounds of breath. If you need additional support, you can stack a block underneath the left knee. Try to continue to breathe down into the belly. And then lace your hands, lift your right knee, and cup a hold of it. So you shouldn't have to feel like you're pulling in necessarily with the right knee. This light hold should be plenty. Close your eyes and assess. What are you feeling now? Is there more pronounced sensation on the right side or the left side? Because there's two different actions occurring. If it is showing up on the left side, is it the inner thigh? Is it the outer hip? Or possibly in the buttocks or knee? All right, let's take one last breath. Let's settle the foot to the floor. Let's elevate the left knee, flatten that foot, and roll to the outer edge of the right foot, letting that knee splay open. Be here with your hands on your belly, a few breaths. And then perhaps noticing the difference in the two sides. Trying to relax into it as much as you can. And drawing the left knee in towards the belly and wrapping the hands on top. You may even want to add in some rolls. Turning your head shoulder to shoulder, massaging the back of the skull. And then observing the difference again between the two sides. Is the sensation popping up in the same pockets or places? And then let's inhale, slowly lift the right knee up. And exhale, drop the left foot down. All right, we're gonna take our arms out like a T. And we're gonna inhale, float the legs in the air to waterfall. Now this is the position you can come back to, as well as dropping the feet here if you need to take a break from the next pose. And it's the supine variation of dragonfly. So splay the feet and legs open into a split. And when we're active, I usually flex the ankles, but today you don't have to. And I just want you to know there may be some quivering occurring through your inner thighs as gravity encourages them to open. The energetic channels are awakening. And you're getting this deep stretch. So again, if you need a break, feet together or down to the floor. But see if you can maintain it a few more breaths. All right, let's give ourselves a break. Bring the knees into the side body. Keep the feet facing up and either hold your hands, your shins, or grip your feet. Happy baby pose. Feet face the sky. Checking in with your breath. Noticing how the lower back flattens down in this shape. Typically aiding to the low back, unless you have certain conditions. Thinking about washing away any emotional residue, any worrisome thoughts, any fatigue or toxins away. Release the feet. Bring them together on the ground in front of your pubic bone for reclined butterfly. So again, we've been in the hips a lot. If you need to make it restorative with blocks or a bolster, feel at liberty to add that in. But I'm also going to request and invite you to place your hands underneath your head, creating the smaller wings of the butterfly. And closing your eyes. And imagining that you have turned from the caterpillar into the butterfly, but you're not quite ready to leave your cocoon. So lie still and motionless. So a new thing that science is also learning is that it's not survival of the fittest the way we've been taught. They're discovering that nature and the universe is actually working in a collaboratory way, in cooperation with each other. And that's going to be another theme for 2023. There'll be more philanthropy, more and more people practicing discernment, more and more people coming together, and more people joining hands to find solutions to all the problems we've had. So that's encouraging use. Seven more breaths. The end of the seven, release your hands apart. Slowly tilt the knees back together, and you may have to use your hands for that. And then again, we're going to fly the feet skyward. Staying on the back, legs in the air. Good for circulation. Good for our lymphatic tissues. Now you can stay there, or you can straddle the legs again. I promise we won't be here terribly long. All right, let's zip the legs back together. And this time on your exhale, hug the knees in side by side. And that's a different mechanic for the hip, and it should feel like a nice relief. Apanasana, wind release pose, is good for reducing trapped gases in the belly. And it also helps to soothe abdominal pain or pressure. So see if your thighs can squeeze the lower end of your belly. And if they don't quite come together, see if you can breathe in such a way that the belly's meeting your thighs and then retracting away. Let's roll over to the right. And we're going to push it to that left hand. Let's go ahead and come to stand up. And when you come to stand up, come to a short end of your mat. Bend your knees. Take your fingertips into that hip crease and slowly descend to dangling pose. At first, keep your arms dangling down along with your head and your neck. Close the eyes and check in to make sure you feel weight under your heels, as well as that extra padded area above the arch of your foot. Opening up one of the main highways here and helping to stimulate the pineal and pituitary glands in the head. And now you're gonna link your arms, holding forearms or elbows, and you can allow the arms to be crossed in front of the legs, or you can bind them and branch up behind your legs. I'm gonna stay in front today. And we're gonna take 7 more breaths, but slowly and deeply. Hold 1. Hold 2. Hold 3. Hold 4. Hold 5. Hold 6. Hold 7. All right, we're going to land the hands to the mat. We're going to step the feet back to downward facing dog. Stretching back through the arms and spine. Allowing the head to be angled between the arms. Feel free to take a cleansing breath if you need it. Two or 3 if needed. Then meditationally walk 1 foot at a time. Back up. Bend your knees really deep. Press into the feet, scooping through the belly, and slowly roll it up. All right, when you roll it up, we're gonna step the feet apart, not especially wide though. And here's why. We're gonna kick the heels in and come down like Holly Goddess, but we're bringing the hands down as well. We're gonna stay on the fingertips. And we're going to cross one hand over the other for spider. Since spiders are the master weavers, and we've been talking about these energetic threads that science is now confirming. And if you want to amp it up, you don't have to do this, but you can elevate your heels as well. All right, land your heels if they're up and slowly come back up to stand. All right, whew, that's a lot, isn't it? All right, step back up to the top of the mat. Bring your hands to prayer position at your heart. Inhale, let your arms reach overhead. And as you exhale, palms together and bow. We're going to inhale, step to plank, but not really holding it because we're coming to tabletop. Knees below hips, hands below shoulders, thread the needle. Since we're talking about life being a tapestry, Thread that left arm under the right, sink down to the left ear or the side of the face, depending on if you're being active or passive. Hips in the air. Breathing into the back of the lungs. Inhale, come up. And on the out breath, right hand goes to thread the needle, dipping down to the ear or cheek, depending if you're being yin or yang. Inhale, unthread. And then on your out breath, keep your right hand as is. Send your left arm forward and dip to half melting heart. We're not holding this as long, just a few breaths. Inhale, come back. And now exhale, right arm out and sink. When you come back to table, round at the cat stretch. Bowing the head, scooping in through the belly. And then dropping into child's pose. And then let's rise and prepare for rest. So you have options. I mentioned have a bolster. I thought since we did so much hip work, and we actually worked in the shoulders too, we could open up the heart for Shavasana. So if you have a bolster, maybe lay on top of it to open the chest. And if you're like me and you don't have a bolster available at the moment, you can just hit corpse pose or the star pose we started with. Once you get settled, let go of any movements. Let go of being entertained by your thoughts. And simply be here now. But while you're here resting and breathing, I want you to consider adding in the mantra, or really not a mantra, but more of an idea of breathing peace in and breathing peace out. Breathing love in and breathing love out. Then joining it together, breathing peace and love in, breathing peace and love out. Peace in, peace out. Love in, love out. Peace and love in, peace and love out. You can keep that going. A deep breath in. As you breathe out, maybe bending your knees. And then rocking side to side. And rolling to one. Coming up to take a seat. Closing the eyes. As above, so below. We are part of the matrix. We are energetic channels. The yogis have always said, and what science is now proving. Bringing your hands, joining together at the heart. Feel free to chant Om with me. We can inhale, circle the arms up overhead, and exhale, Om it to the heart. Breathing in. Om. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Let there be peace, peace, everlasting peace. And may we be an instrument of that peace. Namaste.